Hey everyone, welcome to TYHub, Let's Talk podcast. We're now joined by the helicopter and fixed wing air crew. Welcome to TYHub. Really excited to find out what you're doing. There's a bit of competition between the two, so we have two from the helicopter and we have two from the fixed wing. So welcome, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Logan. I'm I'm in the Defence Forces almost 20 years, joined 2005, and I'm a helicopter crewman.
Hi, my name's Kathy. I'm in the Defence Forces 6 years, started out in the Army and went to the Air Corps, and I'm a helicopter crewman.
Hi, my name's Nathan. I'm in the Army 2 years and I'm a sensor and airborne radar operator.
Hi, my name is Rory. I'm in the Defence Forces 7 years and I am fixed wing crew on the Learjet and PC-12.
On the Learjet and the PC-12. Wow, okay. Two. How are you going to beat that one?
I'm a 139 and a 135.
So there's no competition really. So you started off in the Army and then moved over to the Air Corps. What inspired your move?
I suppose the opportunity to work with helicopters and on helicopters wasn't something that I thought would be available to me. So I joined the Army, was a soldier, really enjoyed that, was interested in working in the medical field and becoming a medic and EMT. And when I saw the opportunity to do that, as well as work with helicopters and all the operations that helicopters do in Ireland, I thought it was an amazing opportunity to do something a bit exciting and a bit different. And I haven't looked back since.
Super. And how long are you actually in the Air Corps then?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. So you're doing not just what you started off doing, the EMT, but you're also getting to do that now as a helicopter rear crew member. What other jobs would you have then within the rear crew?
So when you're helicopter rear crew, there's various different things you'd be qualified in and things you'd be helping out in. So you could be doing troop transport with the Army, you could be doing air ambulances, the emergency air medical service, and you could be doing working with wildlife surveys, doing working with fast roping, abseiling, parachute operations, and various different operations with the Army.
The Air Corps.
No, so
With
we
the
would
Army
bring.
and the Air Corps?
Yeah, so we would bring. We would work with the Army to do certain operations.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. Okay. And you're in. You listed that one off straight away. Now I can't remember. 20 years.
Almost
Was it?
20 years, yeah.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And did you start off in the Air Corps or did you
No, I started off in the infantry.
infantry as well?
Yeah, so I joined 2005 and joined in Dundalk Barracks, 40 recruit then, and stayed in the Army in the infantry for 13 years. Like in 2018, I came down here into the Air Corps. I came down as a ramp operator, so I came down, I was towing in and out aircraft, doing small maintenance and refueling aircraft. Then when I got the opportunity, I joined the air crew in helicopter section. So,
Okay.
so since about 2008, it was a goal of mine to try and get in, and it took me 7 or 8 years to get in. So it was well worth it in the end.
Well worth it in the end. And you came in from the Army, but you're part of the general service
Yes.
team then for here.
Yeah.
So as part of that, you're not just rear crew, like you said, you helped with the ramp.
Yeah.
There's the air traffic control, all that, crash rescue, all that is part of the general service as well.
Yes.
So how did you go from the ramp to the helicopter? What inspired you to go for the
So
helicopter?
Coming in, first off, I would have started as a general recruit. So I applied to the Defence Forces, got in as a recruit in the infantry, done my 6-month recruit training, then done my 10 or 12 weeks 3-star training. Then once you're a qualified 3-star, you're qualified private in the Army. So then I learned me different skills that you learn in the infantry, went overseas a couple of times, and then when I applied to come to the Air Corps, I applied as a ramp operator. So the ramp operator and the helis aren't really getting to do each other. There's a chance for me to get my foot in the door so I could try and get into the helicopters. So going in from the ramp into helis, we start off with a selection course. So we'll get people apply, and then it's an interview, and then a week-long physical and mental test to see who's actually strong enough to come into the air crew. So in my class, there was 50 people started. There was 8 of us finished, and out of the 8, the 8 of us are in the unit,
Right.
or have been in the unit. So
Okay, and it's the same with you then? How big was your class?
Our selection week was only 8 people.
8 people.
Yeah,
And
and
all
4
8
did the
stayed?
course. Then. 4 became helicopter crewmen then.
Okay, brilliant. So we move on to the fixed wing for a minute. Definitely no competition here at all. So you are both fixed wing, you're Learjet and you're Saro. So that would be one of the big causes?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you come in from the army, or did you come in through general service, or how did you become?
No, so I would have applied to do my recruit training here, and then applied for the course to be a SARO, and that's more or less it from the start.
And how long are you doing it?
I've been training to be a SARO for the last year. I only finished up there a week ago. Finished
Okay.
the course fully, and now I'm
Congratulations.
full time into the unit. Thank you.
So you're still waiting to go out on flights, or
No,
with
as-
the training, do you get to go out on?
As part of our training, we'd have to do a lot of operational flights and work on them, and then our rating flight would be on our own doing a operational flight with no instruction.
Brilliant. And you're double jobbing it, so you get
Absolutely.
to do
All
get
of
to do the Lear and the PC-12.
And the PC-12, yeah. So on the PC-12 will be more for passenger transport, but the Learjet will be my main kind of role to act as aircrew. So when I joined back in 2017, I actually applied for the army. I didn't know much about the Air Corps, but I knew about the army. So when the recruitment office rang me and said there's a platoon starting in Baldonnel, I humbly accepted. Didn't know where Baldonnel was at the time. Didn't know much about the Air Corps. Didn't know what I was kind of getting into. So when I finished my recruit training, I went into number 1 ops wing, worked in the tooling and safety stores, and from there, I kind of aviation grew on me. So when the opportunity, when I came back from an overseas mission, to come back and work with 102 Squadron, being a ground attendant, which is another role that we do as well. I took the job. I've enjoyed it, and then after about 2 years, after my NCO's course, I applied for the aircrew course, and the aircrew course lasted around 6-7 months. Due to just operational reasons, you have to be tested on flight. It's a constant assessment basis. Once you're fully rated, you're up and running on your own. So kind of my main roles would be passenger transfer, VIP transfer, military transport, and patient transfer operations. So we do air ambulances, but we're not medics. We're medically trained to deal with emergency on aircraft. But for air ambulances, someone from the HSC, a nurse, or a paramedic from a different company would join us on
so
board.
you'd be picking someone up from neonatal, bringing them somewhere else, for example. Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, we'd be
They
familiar with
have a
all.
whole team with them.
Yeah. There'd be to max of about 2 or 3 medics if needs be.
I'm going to ask you the tough question. Why
Course.
not helicopter?
Huh?
Why not helicopter?
I actually don't know. The idea came
I'm
into
just
my
looking at a
head.
face
but,
here at the moment, and
I
it's
was,
quite funny.
No, the idea came into my head before to join the heli crewman and try the heli crewman's course. But I'm kind of loyal to number 1, and I've grown to like fixed wing. So
You've grown to like it.
yeah, eventually took a while.
Did you know, you said you didn't really know about the Air Corps when you started off. Did any of you know about the Air Corps? Did you have any passion at all in aviation before you joined, or was it kind of just a natural progression or a natural migration over to something different and something new?
I think myself personally, I would have thought as aviation as something that was extremely hard to get into. Before I joined the army, and while I was in the army, I kind of found it hard to believe that an opportunity to work flying around in helicopters, to work on helicopters, would be available to me. So it just wouldn't have been something I would have considered. And as I said, I was during my time in the army that when the opportunity presented myself, I saw that it was something that was worth taking up.
Super. And yourselves?
Yeah, it definitely would have been natural progression. I was kind of all army when I joined up, and then when I joined the operational unit, I've grown to, it's kind of grown on me, and I'm always trying to upskill my work and learn new things within aviation.
Within aviation,
Yeah.
super. Have you encountered any challenges or difficulties in situations while on duty within the function that you do?
Well, yeah.
Tech or, you know,
No, no.
like anything that just
Well, for us, like
went wrong.
the emergency air medical service, the helicopter out of it alone is part of our duties. So we work alongside a national ambulance, advanced paramedic, and we actually respond as a frontline ambulance. So part of our daily duties is actually dealing with high stress situations on the road. So when you're talking to me and Kathy, we sort of have a bit of experience on that side of the house. Like so, but how we get around them things, we train hard, work easy. Like we put a lot of effort in, so we know what we're capable of, and plus we have an advanced paramedic there. But we're an extra set of hands for him. Our priority is the safety of the aircraft. Their priority is the safety of the patient. So hand in hand, we work well together.
And you would also work night operations as well, so...
Yeah, but not with civilians. So we'd work night operations, internally training, but we'd not take civilians on board when we're doing night operations.
Okay. You guys don't do night operations with...
We'd fly at night, but it
civilians.
wouldn't be to the extent of the heli crews that do kind of night operations.
Definitely got a bit of competition
Yeah.
going here.
Yeah.
we would do maritime patrols in the evening time, late at night, or high level patrols over the sea to plot any vessels that might be in the sea. So we would be doing night patrols as well.
And have you flown outside? You haven't, really. Outside, so you're not winning this one. On mission, not on missions, but have you flown to other countries, other airspaces?
Yes.
Within.
Yeah.
Just to the side, will you just give the fixed wing a minute? Give them this one, will you? With the PC-12, is it?
The Learjet mainly.
With the Learjet.
Yeah, my kind of role is one of our main roles, VIP transport. So wherever the government need to go, we'll go with them.
Okay.
So I've travelled to the Middle East. I've travelled all over Europe. I've gone to the States for training. Not on the Learjet now, but most of Europe I've been to a lot of seas.
Okay. Do you get to go training abroad?
Yeah, it
Oh,
definitely
yes.
is.
Yeah.
As part of my course, we had to spend 2 months down in Seville at the Airbus Defence and Space Training Centre to study for the 295 syllabus.
Super.
Yeah, we got the Flight Safety International in the States in Georgia, so it's a nice.
You
week.
guys, did you get to go abroad to train? No. It is a question that came from a student. So, how do you communicate? Is it different on the two different aircrafts? How do you communicate with pilots during a flight?
So the main purpose of our job is communication with the pilot. So we're effectively wing mirrors for the pilot on helicopters. So they have a vision of 10 to 2, and we're out with the door open out the side, and we're looking at everything else. So we're communicating with them in order to assist them to fly the aircraft, and particularly then when we're bringing them down into a landing area. They can't see directly underneath, they can't see the tail, can't see left or right. So our job is to constantly be speaking, constantly be talking with the pilot, to tell them where a good place to land is, where not to land, moving the aircraft around at that critical point.
Are you shouting at them?
No, we
No.
have an internal communication system. So it's an ICS, that's what we abbreviate it as, and it's a link that we all talk on. So if anyone's talking, we can all hear it. So in the aircraft
Because
as
it's
well,
really loud, so you have the...
we have helmets on.
Helmets on
that
and-
have noise cancelling on them. So once we talk to each other, we have internal communications, then we have external communications, which will be on the different box radios, and then we have isolated internal communications inside. So if we have passengers on board, so the crew can speak to each other and isolate the passengers so they can't hear us, or vice versa.
Okay.
So
And how do you guys communicate?
It would be fairly similar for us
Fairly
as
similar.
the lads, but we wouldn't be parking the aircraft as such. But on a maritime patrol, we'd be directing the pilots onto certain fishing vessels we have camera on board, we have radar on board, we have all these different sensors to get the information on where it is, and we'd then have to steer the pilot onto the vessel in poor weather or bad conditions or at night time, anything like that.
A CASA wouldn't land on a vessel, would it? It would kind of hover over it.
We do what's called an inspection pass. So we'd come down as low as about 150 to 200 feet. We'd pop open our bubble window so the photographer would be able to take a picture, get his reg, if he's fishing, anything like that. And then we'd climb back up out of the low altitude and continue on with the patrol.
With yourselves.
Oh, from his own, the
Like with Learjet, it's quite confined, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I could just walk up and have a chat. Yeah, no, on the Learjet we wouldn't use headsets. It's not that loud in the cabin. So I'd be able to go up, and if there's any problems I'd be able to have a chat. And the PC-12, bit different. I could walk up and have a chat to see what's going on, or we have a headset as well to talk to them.
And would you have done during COVID? It's like, that word that nobody wants to talk about ever again. But like, would you have done runs with like medic supplies or vaccines and that kind of thing? That would have been more airplanes versus helicopters, or
the PC-12 definitely would have done COVID test runs to Germany at the time. There wasn't any rear crew on board because of weight and balance, so they would have just packed out the PC-12 with the tests and sent them abroad or delivered them abroad.
We would have brought vaccinations out to the islands for the islanders.
For the islands, very important. It is. They're so isolated in certain times as well.
Small separate countries.
Small separate countries. Like for them, for an emergency, having the Air Corps there or any of the emergency response with the helis is key, isn't it? Really,
it's vital to keep them going. It sort of keeps them connected to the mainland. It's a funny mode of transport, but it's a mode of transport that the islanders are very used to. So
I do believe that one of the first helicopter flights was with the islands as well in Ireland.
Okay.
I've gone to too many talks. Because it was celebrating the Heli 60 there last year, so there was a good bit of information about the history of helicopters, and obviously with the Air Corps being 100 years the year before. It's been a lot of celebrating as well. So, like, I'm just picturing like on those helicopters, they were fairly rudimental compared to the ones that we have nowadays. Like, you're saying hanging out of a helicopter, looking down and guiding the helicopter down. I wouldn't want to do it on one of them back then. But there's a couple of stories there that you might want to talk to one of the lieutenant about. They were very, very fun. Some of them weren't that fun, but there's a good story about the first helicopters coming here and landing here. There's a bit of race and competition between them, so might get that one on camera as well soon. Back to these days. So from going, I digress. From going back then to how equipment is now, we're using more tech. We're using more technology in iPads and all the lovely digital stuff in the front and the cockpits. What is it like in the back? Like, do you have new equipment? Is there more equipment that you're using? Like, you've got helmets that have night vision.
Yeah. The night vision is an
add-on.
It's an extra skill set that we have that training has gone into develop. That we have I think we're 12 years doing MVG now, so it's not like it just happened overnight. It's been a long ongoing process. But if you're talking about navigation and stuff like that, it's still rudimentary in the back. You still can't beat a map and a compass. So for us in the back, eyes out and maps out and keeping an eye out. They have all the fancy computers in the front, but you can't beat a good set of eyes in the back.
You share any memorable experiences that you've had while serving the Air Corps?
I suppose, I've had a few. Kind of the more memorable ones I've had will probably be on certain missions I've done. Definitely one of the more memorable ones would have been going to Reykjavik, in Iceland, where I'd never thought I'd actually go. So I was lucky enough to go there, spend the night, explore Reykjavik. It's a lovely spot, very cold. But for on the sunnier side of things, I suppose I did a triple overnight. I did one night in Hatay, which is a city in Turkey, one in Ankara, the capital city of Turkey, and then we were lucky enough to stop in Athens on the way back for another night. Got to see loads of exciting places. The Acropolis was definitely up there. During my working week, I got to see the Acropolis in Athens, so it's not very often you could say that.
One of the spots for refueling is in Greece, isn't it? If
Well,
you're going down.
It wasn't really refueling. It was more we had another night there, another part of the mission. So yeah, that was a good memory.
Super. Annie, for yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
Sort of drawing a blank here. Obviously, I'm only 2 years in. I suppose the most rewarding part of the career for me, by far, was just after I finished my initial recruit training. I was sent to City West to aid with the refugees that were coming in. Spent, I think it was 5 months there, and that was obviously a very eye-opening time for me. But in terms of anything else, not
nothing
really
here yet.
We'll get
It's
there
all
eventually.
ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're back to the helicopter crew. If you don't want to share, it's okay.
So for me, like being part of EAS is very rewarding, and I say often enough now we get a card back from a successful job that we've had, that be a thank you from a farmer or a car crash or whatever it was, and small things like that to sort of make it a little bit more worthwhile. You know that you sort of made a bit of a difference. So
Very good.
I suppose flying all around Ireland has been an amazing experience for me, from all the way to the top of Donegal to Mount Skellig down in Kerry, doing the coast of the west of Ireland. And at one stage I was doing a flight and we were right down opposite the Cliffs of Moher, and I had the door open and I was sitting out with my feet dangling, just facing the Cliffs of Moher. And at that moment I thought it was pretty cool, because so many people come and look at them from
that
from the
side,
land,
yeah.
and how many people get to say that they were at the distance I was away from them, just sitting out looking at them at that height. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, see, that's cool. Never mind Turkey
Never mind
or
that,
Iceland. That's cool. Big up the west of Ireland.
Yeah.
With your typical day and your roles, you're not constantly up in your aircraft. So you're doing things on the ground. You're kind of, I would say, rooting around. But as your general service, so somebody that's looking in from the outside and thinking about careers in the Defence Forces and particularly into the Air Corps, when you hear general service, it's not something that jumps out to you of the jobs that you're after describing that you do, like your incredible memories, the places you've visited, the jobs that are yet to come for you. You're in a brand spanking new airplane as well, so that's that's wonderful to have that as an experience. You're only 6 months out. Are you 6 months in the train? You've finished the training?
Did about a year of training on the 295, and I'm only just getting started now. It's only starting to get in the swing of
So
things.
only starting. So your career is just on the way.
Exactly.
To sky.
Hopefully, anyway.
Rock it up. And you're 20 years and still smiling.
Old.
So that's good. Experienced. And you're after moving from one field to another. Keep within the field. You kept your medical field, but you've moved from one side of the Irish Defence Forces to another. People don't realise that you can do that. So when you're thinking of careers and stuff like that, did you ever see yourself in school joining the Irish Defence Forces full stop, and then going into the career that you're in now? Like, if you had somebody come into you that is doing the job that you're doing now, would you more likely go for, yeah, I want to go and do that, than before going, I have no idea what they're doing in there?
Yeah, 100%. When I originally had applied to do the Army cadetship, it's a lot of people apply. It's a very difficult competition, and I remember being disappointed, that I didn't get it. And I said I would enlist in the Defence Forces instead, and that was an absolutely brilliant move, because I've had a fantastic career since then. I've done so many different courses. ranging from the helicopter crewmen to the EMT. I worked in the kitchen at one stage. I'm a physical training instructor, all completely different fields. And I've had a great career from enlisting. So it's been fantastic that way, and I would have only got that if I went down the route that I did go.
So from what your experiences is now, you'd go for the general service again, because you can actually advance within your upskilling constantly while you're in here as well. You two are kind of at the start, definitely at the start with new crews. You've a bit of experience, you've got loads of experience, buckets full. It's been absolutely fantastic chatting away to you. They having the laugh and having the banter between the two. When you did your recruit training though, you were only with the army. You didn't. It's now a joint training. So they have the Army, the Air Corps and the Navy are all joining together, and it doesn't, I know the cadetship is separate, but it doesn't matter what part of the Air Corps you're going into or what part of the Army, if it's infantry or any other part, all of them are training together now. So there might be even a bit more competition than just you guys when they're starting off with the training, but it does give that bit of camaraderie. Oh my God, I can't believe I just used that word. Within like a team spirit that you're kind of competing against, but it's friendly and you're all still working together because you still have the social aspect of working and living and training.
Even within the Defence Forces, we're very interoperable with the other services. So the Air Corps, we don't work exclusively with the Air Corps. We are constantly working with the infantry sections, and down in the naval service, like us and the helis, we spend a lot of time is in Hull Bowling, in the naval base. Like people don't really see the connection between the air and sea, but it's there, and so air, sea and land is what we cover. So it's only when you get in and you get a glimpse in behind the curtain that you realise how varied and how wide our jobs are.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody that was half thinking about joining?
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. Say it.
Do it.
We'll do that one again.
I didn't answer that because I was like,
That was so funny. I'm going to so use that as well. Yeah, I'm targeting you from now on. No, it's been absolutely fantastic chatting away to you and finding out what it is to be like part of the general service, and especially the air crew. If you were to give anybody a piece of advice going forward and thinking about joining up in any part, what would you say to them? I'll start with yourself.
Yeah, of course. I would say is research the different roles that we do. Like they're vast, and there's loads of information out there on what we do. That's what I'd tell someone. If you're half thinking of it, I'd say apply. There's no point in going half in, half out. I'd say just apply. You can still think while the application process is going through, and if you fully make up your mind and commit to it, then happy days.
What was the toughest part while you're doing, like, coming up to the, because we're all talking about the fun stuff and the happy elements and everything like that, so you're inspiring somebody to do your career. What was the toughest part of making those choices? And
the first 10 weeks.
First 10 weeks.
First 10 weeks. It's been changed from a civilian into a military person. Oh my God. It's a big change for everyone. It's like anyone that comes in, that remapping the way you think, like you're taught, and this is going to sound silly, you're taught how to tie your shoes properly again. So you're going from being an independent person to you're on everyone's word. You have to do what you're told every second of the day. That's a massive learning curve. Mixed in with a lot of PTs, so physical training. So you go from being sort of sedentary enough, in control of your own life, to being ran everywhere and be told what to do. It's a big change.
Morning, noon and night.
Morning,
Thanks so much for joining me today and having a chat about your career paths and a bit of a laugh and the competition between the two sections. Thanks so much. Thanks everybody for joining TYHub Let's Talk podcast. If you want to know any more about careers in the Air Corps, visit military.ie. As they've all said it now, do it. Thanks a lot.